Let's talk about the economic impacts of this technology. You've said that AI systems like GPT will help people live more creatively by freeing up their time, saving them time that they previously used to do boring, menial tasks. But that is going to necessarily result in significant segments of the population, I would imagine, not needing to work. And the scenario most people imagined was that this technology would first eradicate blue-collar work. Now it increasingly seems like it will be white-collar work. It's all the people over here in Hollywood writing television shows. How do you think it's going to play out? Whose jobs is it going to come for first? Who's second? And how is it just going to reconfigure the way that we think about work more generally?
Look, I find this issue genuinely confusing. Even like what we want, I think we're like confused about whether we want people to work more or work less. You know, there's like a huge debate in France over moving the retirement age 2 years. On the other hand, there's like a lot of ink spilled by people who have very cushy jobs that get paid a ton about how awful it would be if people who have to like work unpleasant minimum wage jobs lose their jobs. We're confused on what we even want as the answer here. We're also confused, as you just pointed out, which is one of my favorite examples of how this is going to impact things. The experts love to get this wrong. Every pronouncement I have heard about the impact AI is going to have on jobs, it's a question to me of how wrong it sounds. So I will try to avoid sounding like an idiot a few years in the future and not make a super confident prediction right now. I will say the following things. Number one, the long course of technology is increasing efficiency, often in surprising ways, and thus increasing the leverage of many jobs, not affecting others as much as you would seem like it would think, and creating new ones that are difficult to imagine before the technology is mature and deployed to the world. Number two, it seems to me like the human desire to create, to feel useful, to gain status in increasingly silly ways, that does not seem to me to have any obvious endpoint. And so the idea that all of us are all of a sudden going to stop working and hang out on the beach all day doesn't feel intuitively right. But I think the nature of what it means to work and what future societies value will change, as it always does. You know, the jobs of today are very different from the jobs of 200 years ago and very, very different from the jobs of 2,000 years ago. And that's fine. That's good. That's the way of the world. The thing that gives me anxiety here is not that we cannot adapt to much better jobs of the future. We certainly can. But can we do that all inside of one generation, which we haven't had to do in previous technologies?
Sam, you've talked about how AI technologies will, quote, break capitalism. I've wondered, what does that mean? And what aspects of capitalism do you think most need to be broken?
Okay, I am super pro-capitalism. I love capitalism. I think it's great. I do think that over time, the shift of leverage from labor to capital as technology continues gets more and more extreme, and that's a bad thing. And I can imagine a technology like AI pushing that even further. And so I believe, maybe, not for sure, but maybe we will need to figure out a way to adapt capitalism to acknowledge this fact that capital has increasing leverage in the world and already has a lot, but it could have much more. The fundamental precept of capitalism, I think, is still very sound, but I expect it will have to evolve some, as it's already been doing.